The instant I crossed the threshold of my own front door, I knew something was off. An uneasy prickle crawled over my skin, the kind you get when objects have been touched by foreign hands. My living room felt alien. The throw pillows I'd arranged just so that morning now lay scattered at careless angles. My shelf of travel souvenirs had been reordered with military precision. The usual chaos of papers and magazines on the coffee table had been transformed into a perfectly aligned stack I certainly hadn't made. "Hello?" I called, the word bouncing uselessly through silent rooms. No answer. I lowered my laptop bag to the floor as though any sudden movement might detonate something. A cold thread of fear stitched itself up my back. Robbery? Nothing obvious was gone. The television still hung on the wall. My laptop had been with me at work, yet the air itself felt violated. Then I remembered the security cameras I'd hidden around the house the previous weekend. Tiny, silent sentinels tucked into corners and crown molding. Hands trembling, I opened the app on my phone. The timeline glowed with motion alerts from roughly 2 hours earlier. I tapped the first clip, and ice flooded my veins. There stood Karen Mitchell, Oakwood Estates' legendary HOA president, in the middle of my living room. Clipboard in hand, lips pursed in that trademark lemon-sucking scowl. She glided through my space as she owned it, photographing my furniture, opening drawers, and inspecting shelves. At one point, she lifted a small ceramic figurine brought back from Portugal, turned it over with open distaste, and dropped it into the cavernous maw of her purse. I stared, speechless. As the neighborhood tyrant enforced community standards inside my private home, I'd been warned about her the day I moved in 3 months ago. My realtor had pushed the 50-page HOA rulebook across her desk with the weary smile of someone handing over a death sentence. "Just keep your head down and follow the Bible," she'd said. "The HOA here is particular was putting it mildly. Week 1, a violation notice for my mailbox being Prussian blue instead oft-approved colonial navy, a distinction no mortal eye could perceive." Karen had signed it with theatrical loops and added, "Welcome to Oakwood. Compliance ensures harmony." I repainted the mailbox. Week 2, my garden gnome was deemed whimsical rather than dignified. Karen personally delivered that lecture, clutching her clipboard like a riot shield. "Perhaps a tasteful Grecian urn," she suggested through a smile sharp enough to shave with. The gnome vanished that same afternoon. Then came citations for wind chimes that disturbed the auditory peace, a bird feeder attracting non-approved species, and a welcome mat exactly 2 inches too wide. I replaced, removed, and complied until my knuckles bled from obedience. Yet the notices kept coming faster and stranger. Excessive interior window illumination. After PM visible furnishings that clashed with community character. Non-regulation indoor plants spotted through my windows. I started keeping every blind drawn tight. But the final straw arrived last Tuesday, a citation for unapproved wall art in my second-floor hallway and non-conforming arrangement of kitchen appliances, rooms impossible to see from the street. There was only one explanation. That night, I ordered hidden cameras and spent the weekend installing them. Living room, kitchen, upstairs hall, front door. Motion activated, cloud-backed, invisible. 3 quiet days passed, and I was almost convinced that I'd gone paranoid. Then Thursday happened. At 10 to 17 p.m. when the neighborhood was conveniently empty, Karen approached my door. She knocked once, perfunctory, waited exactly 10 seconds, then produced a key. My key. She let herself in with the fluid confidence of routine. For the next 27 minutes, she performed a full home inspection. She rearranged my spice rack alphabetically, rifled through papers on my desk, even climbed the stairs to my bedroom, and tutted at the state of my closet. She confiscated the ceramic figurine, a framed photo of my late grandmother, and a glass paperweight shaped like a whale, sliding each into her purse. As though she were pruning a garden, she locked the door behind her when she left. Neat as you please. I watched the footage for times, shock curdling into a hard, bright rage. That evening, I called my cousin Michael, property law attorney. He watched the videos once, swore colorfully, and said, "Call the police. Right now." Unlawful entry, theft, abuse of authority. She has zero legal right to be in your house, HOA or not. I filed the report that night. The officer's eyes grew wider with every minute of footage. How the hell did she get a key? He asked. I had no answer. Only theories. Master keys from the original builder, bribed maintenance workers, decades of accumulated power. The next morning, I had every lock changed, a doorbell camera installed, and a proper alarm system armed. I also mailed a polite but pointed letter to the rest of the HOA board. Karen conspicuously excluded expressing grave concerns about resident privacy, carefully leaving out any mention of police or video evidence. I wasn't done yet. Not even close. I let Karen believe her little reign of terror was still invisible. For 7 full days, I played the perfect, docile resident. I waved cheerfully when I spotted her on the sidewalk with her metal tape measure in hand, critiquing Mrs. Henderson's boxwoods. I sat politely through the monthly HOA meeting, nodding along as she droned on about the sacred duty of maintaining visual harmony. All the while, my hidden cameras kept rolling, silently collecting 2 additional unauthorized visits. She grew bolder with each success. One afternoon, she arrived with a fabric color wheel and held it against my kitchen backsplash, lips moving as she compared hex codes. Another day, she brought a handheld vacuum and fussed over dust on my baseboards. She measured the exact height of my shower curtain from the rod, sighing dramatically when it fell half an inch outside regulation. Every petty, invasive act was captured in crisp 4,000, time-stamped, and filed away. Behind the scenes, Detective Martinez kept me updated. The department was treating the case seriously. Other neighbors had quietly come forward with eerily similar stories. Keep recording, she told me. The videos are gold, but if we can take her in the act, the charges become airtight. The perfect moment arrived on a Tuesday, exactly 14 days after I'd installed the cameras. I was at my desk downtown when the alert pinged. Live motion detected. There was Karen, letting herself in at 1:43 p.m., this time dragging a bulky shopping bag that clearly contained approved replacements for my many sins. I dialed Detective Martinez. She's inside right now. Units are already rolling, she replied. Stay on the line. I abandoned my work laptop, raced to my car, and drove home with my pulse hammering in my ears. When I turned onto my street, 2 unmarked cruisers sat half a block away. Detective Martinez met me at the corner, bright with anticipation. She's still in there rearranging your throw pillows. Ready? I nodded, strangely calm. We walked up the driveway together. I slid my key in as if it were any other afternoon. The door swung open. Karen stood frozen in the middle of my living room, one hand placing a beige pillow regulation shade #ECRU-7 where my burgundy one had been. Her face cycled through every stage of grief in 3 seconds flat. Concentration, shock, outrage. What is the meaning of this intrusion? She demanded, clutching her clipboard like a breastplate. Karen Mitchell, Detective Martinez said, badge raised, you are trespassing in a private residence. How did you gain entry? I am conducting a routine interior compliance inspection, she snapped at Karen, chin high. As president of the Oakwood Estates Homeowners Association, I am authorized. You are not, I said quietly. I've read the bylaws front to back. There is no clause, no fine print, no emergency provision that lets you walk into my house with a copied key. That's preposterous. Your decor choices affect property values. Those garish pillows. An officer stepped forward. Ma'am, you're under arrest for burglary, trespassing, and theft. You have the right to remain silent. The Miranda warning floated over her spluttering protests. When the cuffs clicked, the fight finally drained out of her like air from a punctured pool toy. I was improving his home, she whispered as they guided her toward the door. The bylaws, we'll talk about the bylaws downtown, Detective Martinez said dryly. Neighbors spilled onto their lawns, phones already recording. Someone started a slow clap that spread down the block. The next night, the community center was packed tighter than anyone could remember. More than 50 residents crammed the folding chairs for the emergency board meeting. With permission from both my attorney and the police, I connected my laptop to the projector and pressed play. 20 minutes of curated footage rolled, Karen vacuuming my shelves, photographing my underwear drawer, confiscating non-conforming knickknacks. The room went from restless murmurs to dead silence, then to a rolling wave of furious voices. She told me my fern was dying and needed replacing. I never let her inside. She rearranged my medicine cabinet and left a violation notice for chaotic pill storage. I thought I was imagining things. The board voted unanimously. Karen Mitchell was removed as president, effective immediately. They passed an emergency amendment on the spot. No board member, officer, or agent may ever enter a resident's home without explicit written consent. Violation would mean instant expulsion from the association. The criminal case snowballed. The district attorney hit her with multiple counts of burglary, theft, trespass, and abuse of authority. A search warrant on Karen's own house turned up a spare bedroom lined with shelves, dozens of confiscated items from homes all over Oakwood Estates, neatly labeled with addresses and violation codes. Best of all, her own outdoor security cameras installed years ago to catch people with unapproved holiday lights had recorded her coming and going from those same houses, arms full of other people's property. The footage sealed her fate. At arraignment, she stood ramrod straight in an orange jumpsuit, pleading not guilty, insisting she had only been protecting property values. The judge set bail at $50,000 and didn't crack a smile. As the bailiff led her away, Karen looked back at me one last time. "I just wanted everything to be perfect," she said, voice cracking. I met her eyes and said nothing. Some perfections, I've learned, come at far too high a price.